This is the second video in a series of videos in this virtual tutorial. Welcome to Tailor Made with Nancy. I'm Nancy Taylor. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm going to show you how I made this fun tackle box card, which would be perfect for retirement or Father's Day, using the Let's Go Fishing Suite collection from Stampin' Up! You can find out more about the suite on pages 78 and 79 of the new annual catalog. If you subscribe to the virtual workshop, everything you need to make these cards will be included in your card kits. If you enjoy making these cards and decide that you want to purchase any of the products used today, please consider using my host code and supporting my business. In our first video, we stamped the bobber and the lures that we're going to use for these cards, and we die cut them. The colors we use to stamp the images are copper clay and gray granite, and the inside pieces are lemon lolly, pool party, calypso coral, and lemon lime twist. If you have not yet done so, now would be a good place to pause the video and go ahead and stamp and die cut your images. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and take your piece of calypso coral cardstock, if you haven't already, cut it in half. And we're going to start with an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of calypso coral. This card we are going to do horizontally, but we are still going to score it at 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and do that. And then next we are going to take our crumb cake, and we're going to do the same exact thing that we did with the last card, which is we're going to run it through one piece at a time through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine using our tackle box dies. So the bottom piece and the little insert. So go ahead and give you a second to run those through your machine, and I'll be right back. So just like before, we're going to have those cutouts, and once again we are going to save the cutout for the piece that we're going to be doing our heat embossing on, which in this case is going to be that bottom piece. And we can go ahead and save those insert pieces for another project and set aside the one that we're actually going to be using for today. And the first thing we're going to do, just like with our last card, is we're going to go ahead and put our adhesive on the back of the base of the tackle box. And then we're going to go ahead and glue that to the center of the card. And now we're going to go ahead and get our embossing stuff back here so that we can finish what we started. And we're going to go ahead and very quickly emboss our sentiment. So for this card, I am using Happy Retirement, but you can go ahead and find your stamp case and see if there is something else that you like better. So for this one, if you wanted to do this one as your Father's Day card, it could also fit. If you wanted to do retirement, if you wanted to do congrats right in the middle, those are options. I think you could even fit So Glad You're My Dad. I'm going to do Happy Retirement. So I'm going to go ahead and let's block our sentiment. And let's get our Versamark back here. Get it inked up and stamp right in the center. And then we'll use our embossing kit. And just a fun trick that someone showed me is you can just kind of get it all spread out and then drop it right in there. Use our tweezers. And tap, tap, tap. And there you go. You can see that it worked. If you want to use the little brush to get off any residue, or if you didn't quite get enough, it looked like I can use just a little bit more over here. So I'm going to go ahead and use just a little bit more. Hopefully it wasn't an issue of not putting enough Versamark, but we'll see. It should be okay though. Yep, that worked. And so we're going to go ahead and get our heat gun, turn it on to 2, let it get hot. We're going to do the same exact thing we did with the last card, which is circular motions And just watch until you see that sentiment start to liquefy. There we go. Turn that off. Set it down in a safe place. Make sure you unplug it when you're done. All right. I'll just set this aside, but one of the cool things is that it's got this little knob that lets you untwist it and then pour it right back into the holder for the powder. I'll deal with that later. I don't want to make this video 2 hours long. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the exact same thing we did last time, which is we're going to figure out where we think we want to position our sentiment. We use a little bit of glue on the back, right in the middle, not all over the edges, and put it where we think it's going to go, and then find our top piece. And just make sure that we haven't gone too far off course. And then once we are a little more confident about where it's going to go, we can press down on it. So that's a little better, I think. Okay. Yep. Move it around as needed. Okay, I think that looks okay. If you need to sneak under there and put a little more glue, you can. Just kind of press down until it's all stuck down. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our top piece. If you want to try to use glue, last time around I used glue dots, so this time around, since I already got a little glue on my card, I'm going to go ahead and just hit those same areas that we did with the glue dots. I'm going to go ahead and hit those areas with the fine tip glue. We'll see how we make out. Again, I think that because it's a tackle box card, if it looks a little wet, I think it's okay. I think that actually kind of goes with the theme. And I'm just going to tell myself that because it's going to make me feel better about having a mess of glue on my card if that's what I end up doing. So we're going to go ahead and position that to frame out the sentiment that we just placed. Try not to move it around too much. Go ahead and press down at all of those little points that we just talked about where we put our dots of glue. And then there you go. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our scrap, we're going to take our Calypso Coral, our Lemon Lime Twist, our Lemon Lolly, and our Vellum, and we're going to go ahead and get our feather piece, and we're going to come back and we're going to cut out these pieces. We're going to cut out one of each of the colors, and we're going to cut out 3 of the vellum, and we'll be right back with those so that we can continue to assemble our card. And for these, this is another one where you want to have your take your pick tool to go ahead and separate out the feathers. Keep cutting until you have everything. Okay, so I'm now finished cutting out those pieces. And last but not least, as we said, we already cut out and stamped our lures. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to take our scrap silver and we are going to go ahead and cut out the remaining pieces for our tackle box. And so we're going to use our scrap silver and we're going to cut out whatever this is, as well as our little bobbers. And you'll see that the little bobbers, it comes as one piece. So we have this piece, and where is the little bobber? I thought I had him over here. Oh, there he is. He's under there in my magnetic dish. And we're going to, fortunately, we only have to run this through the machine once, and that's going to give us the little tiny pieces. So basically, you're getting these 2 pieces, and we're just going to run these 2 guys through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and then we will finish assembling our card. And here we go. We have the last of our pieces. So let's go ahead now and assemble. So we'll use our original card, put him where we can see him. So we're going to start by finding whatever the two fish lures are that we want to use, whichever colors you decided. And one is going to face up and one is going to face down. We're going to go ahead and use dimensionals. You can use two like we did last time. I'm actually going to try to use one this time because I don't know that we necessarily needed to. One that way, and it kind of sticks up a little more, so I guess you could use two, but I'm trying to move us along, so I'm going to just go ahead and stick with my plan. Go ahead and get that stuck down. I think that looks okay. Looks like it's in there. Next, we're going to go ahead and pick our bobber. For this one, I'm using gray granite and calypso coral, using one dimensional. And I'm going to put that towards the end and face it inward. And then I'm going to use lemon lime twist, one dimensional for that one, and face it pointing a little towards the upper left-hand corner. And of course, this was actually copper clay, but that's okay. I think it's all right. And then finally, all right, so that looks like it's all of our bobbers. Now we're going to go find those silver pieces that we just cut out. For this one, we can go ahead and use glue. Put a little glue on the back. I'm just going to continue to use my fine tip glue just because that is what I have handy. You're going to take that piece and you're going to center it, angling it up just a little bit to fit right in the center. Once you like where it's at, go ahead and push it down. Again, tell yourself if you got glue everywhere, it's okay, it's a tackle box, it's supposed to look wet. We're gonna go ahead and take one of our little silver bobbers, put a little bit of adhesive on the back of it, and go ahead and stick that down towards the corner. The silver foil does not stick down as readily as our regular cardstock, so you do want to be a little bit careful. It does seem like it has more of a tendency to move around, probably because it's thicker. And then we're going to take our little, whatever this is, the little triangle piece, and put a little glue and stick it in the corner, pointing towards the corner, bottom corner. And then finally, we are going to take our feathers. So for this one, the way I did these guys was I started with and I guess let's start with the lemon lime twist. I put just a little bit of adhesive right in the center, just a little bit. And then I started by placing it, leaving a little bit of room for my bobber. Then I took my vellum and I slid it underneath ever so slightly. And then I found my festive pearls, or whatever embellishments you want to use. If you're doing the workshop, you will have these pearls. I use this silver one. Using take your pick, go ahead and grab, oops. Go ahead and grab one of these guys. I need to replace my glue, I think. And then I kind of used it to like, almost as like an extra layer of adhesive to kind of just push it down and hold it together. So see what works for you. If you want to put a little bit of glue behind the vellum, you're certainly welcome to do it that way. Go ahead and use our second bobber, a little bit of glue on that, and place that at the bottom. You can face whichever way you want. And then we're going to do the same thing with the next two colors. So go ahead and use a little bit of glue on the back of the feather. And for this one, I'm going to have it go straight up and down. Try not to move it around too much. And then I'm going to take my vellum and I'm going to turn it this way so the feathers go the opposite direction this time. going to kind of just sneak it behind so it picks up just a little bit of the glue. And I'm going to try to make the two feathers come to a point. And then I'm going to take your pick to grab one of the embellishments and use that to kind of stick it down and hold it together. And I'm going to do the same thing with the last of the feathers. And just kind of work with what you've got. Once you start laying things down, kind of just roll with it and put the other pieces in a way that makes sense to you. There is no right or wrong way to do this. Use what you have. If you put a little too much glue, I might actually give it a try for this one, putting a little bit of adhesive on the vellum. Because if you're gonna put the vellum underneath, that glue is gonna show through, but if you're layering the feather on top, it will cover the glue. There you go. And the same, let me go ahead and close my fine tip glue before I accidentally dry it out. And then go ahead and get the last of the embellishments and bring it to a point. And there you go. Card number 2 is done.